Hello everybody, let's get started on week 11 of our inspections. I have a few updates since last time. I guess the first one is probably the most evident, which is this hive that we have here, our stronger hive, which I refer to as my left hive. That one I have added the supers on top, those medium-sized boxes that are used for storing honey. So in today's inspection of that hive, what we'll be looking for is to see if they are drawing out comb on those and starting to store honey. The queen will only be able to lay eggs in the bottom two chambers, and they can only store honey and nectar and pollen in the top two boxes. So we'll see how that's working out today. Hopefully that's given them enough room so they will not be inclined to swarm. And swarming happens when they essentially just get too crowded in one box. And I'm hoping that's given them enough space to expand the hive continually and to start storing honey. That's essentially where we'd be extracting honey if we get that opportunity to do so. So I think I did that last Wednesday is when I put those honey supers on, and it's now Monday. So it's been Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's about 5 days since I've added those on. We will see if they are storing honey in them, or at least nectar right now. It might not be capped yet. Other things that I'm going to be looking for, I guess, in the stronger hive is just to make sure that a queen is still doing her thing and laying new eggs. I didn't find the queen last week. If I can find her this week, that would be great. And looking for just general stuff like the typical inspection list that I have, making sure that everything looks good, and I'm recording notes because they are useful to refer back to over time. In this time frame, I should start doing mite counts. Unfortunately, I don't have the alcohol that I need to do a mite count because the stores just don't have any anymore. So I have to figure some other option out. Windshield washer fluid, I guess, is one way to do it. So I don't think I'm going to do mite counts or mite. Yeah, I don't think I'll do mite counts this week. I think I'm going to save that for next week, just because I'm kind of anxious to see how this hive is doing with the expansion, and also see how the weaker hive is doing with regards to the new queen. So I think mites we can save for next week. So I guess just a recap on mites. It's kind of a long topic, but the short story is there's these phoretic mites that live on the bees, and they sort of collect them over the foraging season, and you don't want those on your bees in large numbers, because they can be the death of your colony. So you have to test for them and see if your hive has a large number of them, and when they reach a certain threshold, you have to start treating for them. Not everybody treats, but it is definitely a recommended method in this area to treat for mites, because it doesn't only affect your hives, it affects any neighboring hives as well. So that's something we're going to be checking for. I did do a test when I first got these packages, way before I started recording these activities, and the mite counts were super low. I didn't have to well, I did treat anyways, just proactively, but there was really no mites to be found. So that may have changed, and that's something we have to test for next week. So left hive, we've essentially covered that. Again, we'll check for mites next week. We'll just make sure they're not swarming. We have honey starting to get stored. That would be great. We'll see how much progress they've made in just 5 days, so we can sort of predict how long it'll take for them to cap honey, and then we'd have to maybe extract if possible. The weaker hive, where the chickens are, we're gonna again look at the top deep to see if that's progressed any further. I've seen a lot more activity outside this hive in the past week since we last inspected, so that's good. I'm assuming more bees have emerged. I don't think we're gonna see eggs just yet. I think we're still waiting for another few days. Last I checked, I think the increased activity is probably because the queen is in her mating phase. I think that's either, it could be, that's pretty much a guess, but that could be a combination of her in her mating phase and the bees are happy, or just because more of the capped brood has emerged, so the population has grown. There have been some bees dying, but I think that's normal. If I look, you can almost see it like a little dark shade on the wood chips, but there's a little pile of dead bees, but there are dead bees kind of in both, in front of both hives, and that's typically normal. Bees only live about 42 days. In this hive, if I was doing the math right, in the 11th week, we're obviously over 70 days. So some of the bees that, mostly all the bees that were here when I first got the package have since expired. But the bees that the new queen has laid, that first batch is starting to cycle through. So I think when you start getting to a high number of bees, 30,000, 40,000 bees, on a given day, 1,000 bees could be dying, and some of them right outside the hive. So there should be a small number of them outside, not like massive amounts. That's when you have a problem. So I think everything is cool there. We're not in any trouble, and the chickens like the extra dead bees. It's a little snack for them, I guess. What else? Yeah, so I don't think the queen will be laying in the weaker hive. We'll see if there's any remaining brood. I have to go back. I'll try to put a number here of when I think the queen died, and figure 21 days from that, give or take, is when the last of the brood should be emerged. And at that point, we're waiting for the new queen to lay, at which we have to wait another 21 days from when she starts laying for the next set of bees to start emerging. And at that point, if we need to give this colony a boost, we might take extra bees or extra brood, frames of brood out of this hive and put them in that hive. But I don't think we're there yet. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and get suited up and started. We'll start with the weaker hive, just because I think that's going to go by a little bit faster. We have way more boxes to go through on the big hive. So that's where we'll start. I'll see you in a second. All right, so the first thing I can notice is the feeder jars are starting to get empty. 2 of the 4 are empty, so I probably will refill those today. Moment of truth. Let's see what's happening in these top boxes. And again, we'll start with the same numbering, 1 through 10. Starting with the right hand side. Pull this frame out first. It really doesn't have a lot of bees on it. I'd say it's from memory. It's changed in no way, shape, or form since last week. There was this little, see a hive beetle. I'm gonna kill that guy. Show you what a hive beetle looks like. We don't want those in our hives. Hive beetle is right there. I didn't order these things called a small hive beetle trap, and I probably should do that soon now that I'm starting to actually see beetles in here. And what will happen is the bees will chase the beetle into this little trap filled with oil to kill them off. So to start, I'll at least get rid of that guy. So 2 honey frames, no brood frames found thus far. It is a open queen cell. Nothing in it that I can see. So we definitely had multiple queens emerge, or at least had multiple queen cells that were pulled out. This frame has like 1 or 2 worker brood cells left. I'll let you know if I see anything different here, but it does not look like it. Pretty much the last 6 frames have all been the same. Plenty of bees around for now. Last of the brood, very little. I can count them with one hand. probably. Oh, another hive beetle just walked on my finger. Time to order those traps. So to recap the bottom, just a very small amount of brood left. Lots of honey on this side, some on this side. It's mostly empty in the middle. And 2 hive beetles. Make note of that. That's weird. Yeah, I want to take a video of it just to share. I learned this trick from another beekeeper. If you want to get bees off the frame, you just use like the back of your hand. I know you think it's crazy, but let's say we want to get these girls out of the way, just give them a little tap. And there they go. They're out of your way. And so what I'm looking at here, what I was peeking into, is this cell, which looks weird. It's like not royal jelly. It looks like pollen inside right there. So interesting. I mean, I'll even open it up a little further just to inspect that there is no egg in there, just pollen. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. I don't know what Daisy's barking at. Protecting her chickens, I guess. Okay, I said this was frame 7, I believe. Yep, and that's going to be pretty much the last one that has any comb drawn on it. Okay, frame 8 has just some bees on it, but no comb, but we'll take a quick look. Nothing there, so let's slide all these back and wrap this hive up. So that was relatively quick, maybe about a half hour to go through 2 boxes. I do need to refill the jars, so I'll put this on for now. Let me go get a refill. I might just leave 2 jars on for now, but at least fill them up. It took them quite a while to drink all this stuff, so I don't think they're going to drink 4 jars in the next couple of weeks. So, moment of truth on this busy hive. Let's see how busy they've been. Not a lot of bees up here, but let's take a look inside. And what do we see thus far? I'll start right in the middle and just take a look. I'm gonna need a step stool. So nothing's happened here. There's bees crawling around on it, but I don't see anything being built just yet. I'll just peek through these real quick. They're just kind of exploring. I have not taken to these frames just yet. Outsides would not be built before the insides, but and I won't even bother with the other ones. This is not built just yet. And this has been, what I say, 5 days, so I guess that's not surprising. Next honey ones, again, let's start from the middle, see if we got anything. Hoping for something. Really nothing yet. Okay, well that answers the first question. Is have they drawn anything on the supers? That would be a no. Alright, so this is still nice and packed. quick smoke. And I think we'll do the same thing. We'll inspect the bottom first and then we'll inspect this one on top. And I remember it being pretty heavy last week. Queen 2, bottom box. Plenty of capped brood here, but no eggs in the empty cells. Empty queen cup. I see eggs here as well, amongst mostly pollen filled, very little nectar on this one. Let's get them ready for the next box to go back on top. All right, let's check this last frame, see if we can find the queen. This one looks really heavy. Boy, is it ever. Again, no queen spotted down here, but she's been here. So let's slide everything back together. Which is easier said than done. Everything's sticky. So that's pretty heavy. And in this one, we just have nectar. And I think just the beginning of royal jelly on some eggs. So this is going to turn into brood. Yeah, that's almost like a perfect arch. You can see the honey on the top, all the brood on the bottom. I think that's going to make a picture perfect frame. Very much like this too. All beautiful brood on the bottom and nectar, kind of like a archway of nectar. Lots of nice, healthy looking larvae in these cells. That makes me happy. This one here, I'm guessing, is second round of brood in here. So notice that they're a darker color. There's now eggs in the bottom of some of these cells. So I think we have some new second generation of brood coming out of... Oh, there's a queen. There she is. Let's get her spotted. She is so much easier to see with that dot on her. Oh, it's on the bottom, so I'm going to keep over the hive like this. Left side of the frame. There she is. Okay, now we should be able to get a picture of her. There she goes. Let's get her back in. She's doing a great job. Yeah, in this. So yeah, so now the top box. I remember frame one was frame one, built out on both sides. This is built out. My guess is I'll put more nectar in this one too. Okay. Let's put it all together. Refresh my memory. Yeah, so frame one is the only one that has half of it not populated, not built out. Okay. Let's fix this camera and recap what we got for this week. That's all we need to do. Okay, so let's try to recap the inspections for week 11, starting with the weaker hive. This guy. The right hive. What we're looking for again, to see if the queen was laying. We did not see her. We didn't find her, nor did we see any eggs. So she may be in there. It's kind of hard to see. There's kind of a lot of bees in those frames, especially on the bottom, if I recall correctly. Yes, definitely on the bottom. They're still all congregated mostly on the bottom. They really haven't built out much on the top. Remaining brood was very minimal, like a few workers and a couple of drones. So I wouldn't expect to see a ton of activity on this hive for 3 weeks plus. So another week maybe if the queen starts laying, and then another 3 weeks after that would be the time where we'd see any new bees. So we'll just leave it as is. Check back next week, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we start seeing eggs in the next week or so. And 2 hive beetles, not super concerning, I don't think, but we'll go ahead and order those traps to be prepared for that. I didn't see any in the stronger hive. Probably just can't see them. There's just so many bees in there. So left hive, the stronger hive here. What we're looking for is progress on the supers. We saw none. There's bees up there, sure, but they have not built out any wax in those top 2 honey supers. No signs of swarming. Yes, there's some queen cells, but there's no eggs in there, so that's good. Pests, I didn't see any. Mite treatment, like I said, we're not going to do that just yet. Probably next week would be a good time to do that. Continued egg laying and brood. I didn't see a ton in the bottom, but there was some. It was kind of hard. The lighting was really bad when I was down on the bottom to see the eggs, but there were eggs in the bottom, but the top had a ton of eggs, and that's where we ended up spotting our queen on frame 5, I believe. Frame 5 on that side. So that's good. So overall, I think we got what we needed to get done this week. We have answers. We found one of the 2 queens. We didn't find the left hive queen last week, found her this week. We didn't find the right hive queen this week. We did find her last week. So maybe one of these days we'll find both. And that would be great. So I think that's it for today. Short summary. Longer inspection. It took me probably an hour to go through both the hives. It took me almost just as long to go through this one because I was really searching for the queen than it did to take me to go through this one, because I was really taking my time through the bottom box to try to find the queen. There was a lot of bees there, and I found her about halfway through on the top. So once I find her, I feel a little bit more confident that I'm not going to disrupt something or kill her, and I can kind of breeze through the rest of the frames and kind of just make sure everything else looks good. So I think that's a successful inspection for this week. I'll take some of my notes before I forget them all, and then come back. I'll wait till next week, till at least Sunday, if not Monday, to do my next inspection, and we'll see what changes. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.